All right, we're going to start this with a little interactive session that we're going to do. So I want you guys to help me out. I'm going to talk about developing top-performing creative. The way we do, I'm going to take you through our creative process, but I want to do a little demo of the way we think about creative. So if you guys could help me out, please go to this form and answer a few questions. It should take you like 15 seconds. And at the end of the presentation, I'll show you some ads that you guys helped make. So I'm Phil Shpilberg, founder and president of GameChangerSF. What I want you to know what I'm going to talk about. I have 15 minutes, so I want to convince you of three things. First of all, I really enjoyed Scott's presentation on creative. I think you've traveled a lot of the road that we've traveled about, hey, you need a lot of creative ideas. You need to execute them, see what works, and then elaborate. I think this is going to piggyback on that, so I think it's perfect. I want to convince you that you need to multivariate test every ad, like every one of your ads built into the process. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by that, because different people mean different things by that. And what I mean by that is you should test ideas like the concepts, have a bunch of concepts you're testing, but within each concept, you should pick the variables that you're going to test embedded in those concepts and test those right as you're doing that advertising. And I'll show you the data behind that, why that's so powerful and how much that improves your results. And, everybody's been doing it wrong is what I hope to show you, including us up until recently. And that's not to say that we all don't know what we're doing. It's just that we didn't have the tools that we have today to really change the way we're doing creative. And I really want to advocate for looking at creative and the creative process a completely different way than what's traditionally been done. Okay, so just quickly about us, what gives us the credibility to talk about this stuff. We're one of the oldest user acquisition agencies out there. We were founded in 2012. We're really, my background's engineering. I'm a data scientist really by nature. I'm, colorblind is something I like to tell people. So I talk about advertising. I look at this stuff from a data perspective. We have we have another guy named Phil who runs a creative services department. He sees colors just fine. But I focus on the data. So when I know stuff's working, I know stuff's working by looking at the data. So everything we do is rooted in the data, and we have a lot of it. So just before, I think most people in the room understand we need to do multivariate testing, but just in case some people are newer to this, let me just make the case for why creative and multivariate is so important right now. The way we're buying creative right now is really the targeting is algorithmic. We're sending events to the networks. They're optimizing for those events. We're doing lookalike audiences. A lot of the control on targeting is sort of taken away from us, and the playing field's level, right? We all sort of get the impressions, and then what we do with them, that's what determines the beginning of our funnel. So creative, a few years ago, we didn't even worry about creative that much. Now it's the thing that we spend probably the most time on. A/B testing is what we used to do. It's really slow. It's inefficient. It's 3 years ago. You shouldn't be doing A/B testing anymore. And then finally, just from a data perspective, multivariate testing within a creative concept. So when you have a creative concept and you do multivariate testing on that concept, we find that versus not doing it, just executing a concept, and then comparing that to doing multivariate testing, which again, I'll show you, 30% improvement on the ROAS, mostly through better click-through rates and getting better users in. So it's pretty powerful. So, okay, what does our typical ad look like? I just want to set the stage for what you need in terms of process and technology to deal with. Very typically, we're making 1,500 ads when we're launching stuff, right? When we're launching a campaign. We don't have many months to do this. We can't sit there and make this manually. We have to have process and technology to do it. So this is just one example. The variables are on top. So, just characters, background, audio choices, localizations, Google and Android, Apple and Google, you might have to have different logos. Those are variations, and then localizations. So very quickly you get to big numbers and you're not doing it manually anymore. So our answer to this is multivid, and I'll talk through each one of these. But I think if you're going to engage in this kind of creative process, you need something like this. And if if you have the stomach to build this, you can do it, and I'll tell you how it works. So first, you need the ad creation process. We have a creative department, we have a creative director, we work with our clients on creative concepts, storyboarding. It's kind of traditional, what you might expect. But built into that is all the multivariate testing up front. So when you get our storyboards, you get the variations that we're going to test. And we're going to talk about exactly which things we're going to test. And that's built on what we've already learned. So we're not just testing random things. We've already, once we started working on something, by the 15th, 20th creative, we have a very good idea of what's making an impact. So once we do that, we have to execute it. And that's where the multi-vid ad creation process comes in. And you have to automate it. You have to have pretty sophisticated technology to generate 1,500 variations of a creative idea. Then you got to distribute this thing. You're not uploading 1,500 ads manually to Facebook, right? So you need specific API tools to make it happen. And then finally, and really importantly, you need a custom reporting system, because off-the-shelf reporting systems won't tell you what's going on with your variables, and I'll show you that too. So that's kind of the setup. I'm gonna give you a quick case study and show you the data. So this is one of our clients. It's the S'more app. It's a cash rewards app for Android, and we've been working with them for 2 years. This is the 13th iteration of the creative, and let me just show you the base concept here so you know what we're talking about. I don't have audio. I do have audio. Okay, so a few things about that. So this is one creative execution. I'll show you what's going to happen here. Through testing, we have this character, the spokesperson. We've tested a bunch. This S'more lady we call Sadie is the one that we're using. She's worked really well. The copy, you see stupid easy money, beat everything else. So we already know this stuff kind of works. What we've realized, though, is just changing appearances. Oops, I won't do that again. Changing things on the character, so changing hairstyle, just changing the way she looks, has pretty dramatic impact on how the ad performs. So just as a multivariate test, this is a very simple example. Most of them are more complicated than this. But we're going to mess with her appearance, we're going to mess with the background, and we're going to mess with the audio. Now, we're going to do testing on Facebook, and you're going to go, okay, audio's off by default. We just wanted to test, what would happen if we did a bunch of different audio. And then sizes. And so, okay, this is the output. These are the ads. So let's talk about upload. You don't want to upload all these ads to Facebook. So, I'm not going to show you the API upload. It's not that exciting to look at. But you're going to need to do this, because you're going to test this against a bunch of audiences. You need to automate that part of it. Okay, so we launch it, and we get results. Okay, so this is you're looking at Facebook, and you're going, okay, I know which ad did the best by whatever KPI you defined, right? We look at OCVR, CTR times conversion rate. Okay, we know which ad performs best, second best, whatever. What actually happened? Which factors helped? What did you learn from this other than this is the thing that did the best? Don't get me wrong, getting the best performing ad is important, but you want to learn something. So I said we're a data science company. I love making dashboards. I do it all day. We created, we have custom dashboards for our clients. What we did here was we created a custom dashboard, which I have to come out. Okay, you could see that. Okay, so first of all, as a reporting system goes, you gotta separate each variable. So first of all, you can't see this in Facebook, but character 3, background 3, and music choice C performed the best, okay? You could see that. You could see all the stats. The ones that we're looking at is OCVR. So I want to point out a few things here. So OCVR 1.22, it's a really good one from impression to install, but check out the ad, okay? So this is the winning ad. Okay, pretty straightforward winning ad. Let's look at the worst performing ad. Okay, that's not really that different. The stuff that Scott was showing had, looked different. I could ask you to guess which one would do better. I couldn't guess which one was going to win. And just understand what's happening here. So the top ad is getting 1.2%, and the bottom ad's getting 0.3%, and you're getting a bunch of stuff in the middle. So if you just made a creative concept and you executed it some way, right, and you put it out there, you'd get some result on that wide range of results. Would it have been the best one? It probably wouldn't have been, statistically, right? You wouldn't have guessed it correctly. So that's all good and fine, and that's great because you're getting the best performing creative. But then the next step is, okay, what contributed to that? It's multivariate testing. I want to separate these variables. So this is really important because this is what you've learned. So first of all, the character, you could see here, the character, I'll give you the answer. Character's driving all the variation, all the big change, like the top design of that character is twice as good as the rest when you control for everything else. And you have to control for everything else if you're going to do true multivariate testing. The backgrounds, I mean, the top two performed well, the bottom one didn't. And then the music, again, I said it was a control. It didn't make a difference, and I wanted to see that. It was actually put in for that reason. So there you go. That's multivariate testing. So I want to make one other point here. Okay, yeah, just a summary. Like that ad beat our control ads before it, which were not multi-vid type ads, by quite a bit. So it's like doubled the performance. I just want to make another point. You hear people saying like 1 in 20 ads, 1 in 10 ads that I make is successful and is usable. Our hit rate's far higher than that because we can get the best performance out of every creative concept. Not everyone makes it. You can make some stinkers, right? But we can squeeze out the best performance out of every creative concept, and our hit rate's like 50% at this point. So we're not wasting all this creative stuff. So I'm just gonna ask you, like, are you executing creative or is it executing you? Is it executing you? What I mean by that is, remember I showed you, like, you have 3 creative concepts, right? You come up with 3 ideas and you test them and you get these results, right? Whatever KPI you're testing, OCVR, just KPI. And this concept is the best, right? It performed like 13, I don't know if you could see the middle one, performed the best. The one on the left was the second best. The one on the right was the worst, right? Pretty straightforward. This is the way we used to do stuff. This is multivariate testing. Like that execution of that ad was actually noise. Like I kind of worked backwards. I picked some data points and I put them in. But that's what it used to look like. If you're executing one version, how the heck are you getting the best situation? Like the whole job of UA managers is to find the outliers. Like we want the top. And you could see it completely changes the results, right? Like 15 had like 2 outliers that you could use. So this is the way you got to do stuff, right? I hope I've convinced you. Okay, so that's actually the data part of the show. You guys filled out some forms and you made some Valentine's Day cards. Okay, so Ideal, are you here? Did you make that ad? All right, cool. All right, let's see some more. All right, Artie. Oh, sweet. Oh, I thought you guys were enjoying it. All right, who's that? Artie? Did you make that ad? I did. All right, cool. So we'll talk after. Okay, so my point there is, the reason we did that is, like, you see a lot of stuff here that isn't, like, people talk about concepts, like, we're living this stuff every day. What we did here is exactly what we talked about. We made some choices, so front, card, and location. Artie didn't write that in the inside. We kind of pre-populated that, but we did the name and company so you'd see that, yes, it actually got made here while I was talking. So that's it. Just remember, got to create the ads, you got to distribute the ads, and you got to report. And you should do multivariate testing on all of it, and don't do it wrong anymore. Now you know how powerful multivariate can be. That's my time, 55 seconds.